Tonight, smoke continues to settle in across the Treasure State. MTN talks with health experts as Montanans are left to breathe in toxic fumes from wildfires in the west.
Plus, with students sent home to learn remotely, but sporting events still on, a look at their policies and if they'll be changing anytime soon.
And later, with a legal battle brewing over Montana's mail ballot plans, county officials discuss the safety and security of the vote-by-mail process.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good Tuesday evening. I'm Tim McGonigal.
And I'm Keely Van Mittendorp. First tonight at 10, skies continue to see a blanket of smoke as wildfires rage in the west.
This means air quality remains a problem. Our meteorologist Grant Garland is here to tell us more. Grant, concerns continue for many Montanans tonight.
Exactly, that's right. We're looking at still unhealthy conditions for several folks in Lewistown, as well as Helena and Missoula, as well as Kalispell. Now, we have seen a little bit improvements for our friends up towards Malta, looking at moderate conditions, as well as Great Falls has remained the same. Now, because of all the smoke, we are still seeing 4 miles visibility in Helena, 6 in Lewistown, 9 up towards Cut Bank, and 3 in Missoula, 10 in Havre, as well as Glasgow and Great Falls. Current temperatures in the 50s for a lot of folks, 54 in Great Falls, 56 in Havre, and 54 in Jordan. A lot warmer in Helena at 64 degrees. As we take a look at our winds, well, we are still seeing a little bit breezy conditions in Great Falls, and maybe that's why we've been able to see the smoke not be so bad. It's been able to move the smoke a little bit, but down towards Helena, still looking at 7 miles per hour. Overall, clouds staying south of us into Billings as well as Miles City. Overall, tonight temperatures will fall down to right around 46 degrees in Helena and 44 in both Great Falls as well as Lewistown. Now, cooler conditions are on their way, but we're going to talk about that and more coming up in a few minutes. But for now, back to you.
Thanks, Grant. As we continue to see unhealthy air quality due to the smoke, MTN's Sean Wells decided to find out about the difference in symptoms between smoke inhalation issues and COVID-19.
He spoke with a Flathead County official who warns of an overlap.
I'm Sean Wells in Kalispell, where health officials warn of an overlap in symptoms between COVID-19 and smoke inhalation. Coughing, sore throat, and headaches are all under the range of possible symptoms of a positive COVID-19 case. These symptoms also fall into the range of too much smoke inhalation from being outside in unhealthy air quality. Flathead County Deputy Health Officer Carrie Knuckles says community residents should play it safe if they are not feeling well.
It could really be either, and if you think you've been exposed to a person or you're feeling sick, not just when you're outside, but after you come in and after you're in a more filtered air environment, please do consider that it might be COVID and it might be worth talking to your doctor.
Knuckles says you can protect yourself from unhealthy wildfire smoke from wearing N95 or N99 masks while outside. Knuckles says these cloth masks help prevent you from exposing someone else to COVID-19, but will not protect you from unhealthy smoke particles in the air.
If they're outside and they're exercising, even if they're wearing a surgical mask or a cloth mask, that's not going to filter out the PM 2.5 or the particulate that we look at for wildfire smoke.
Knuckles expects unhealthy air to remain in the Flathead Valley for the coming days. She encourages Flathead residents to minimize outside physical activity.
Probably going to have a couple days of bad air quality where anyone with respiratory illness, little kids, just minimize your time outside.
Knuckles says a standalone certified HEPA filter will help with smoke filtration indoors. In Kalispell, Sean Wells, MTN News.
Fighting wildland fires is about to get a little easier for one local fire department. The Vaughan Volunteer Fire Department has received a grant for a new wildland fire truck to replace the one that was built back in 1968. The new truck will allow firefighters to spray water remotely from the cab instead of having to carry a hose and walk alongside the truck. It will also be able to hold more water and will have four-wheel drive, allowing the truck to go places the current truck can't.
We're hoping to have a little bit longer stretch on the frame so we can do the inclines and the grades a little bit better than something like this right now, which is a little bit top heavy.
The new truck is expected to be ready for service sometime next year.
Moving Reporting on campus, the University of Montana Athletic Department confirmed tonight that some student athletes are now in quarantine or isolation due to COVID-19. Athletics Director Kent Haslam confirmed to MTN News an undisclosed number of student athletes are now in quarantine or isolation after a recent number of positive coronavirus cases were identified on campus. Haslam did not specify which sports the athletes were members of. The athletic department has closed the Washington Grizzly Champion Center for proper sanitation with plans to reopen it on Thursday. And new tonight at 10, Great Falls High School was closed again today after the recent reported cases of COVID-19.
But that didn't stop sporting events from taking place around the district. MTN's Matt Holzaffel was at Memorial Stadium for several crosstown soccer matches today and has more.
With the recent reports of some confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the Great Falls Public Schools district, some people have wondered what this could mean for the potential future of sporting events in the district. I spoke with Great Falls Public Schools Director of Athletics, Mike Henneberg, to find out.
You know, we don't feel that having spectators and having events is having an effect on the number of positive cases. And so until we really feel that that's a contributing factor, I think we'll continue to operate as normal.
Mike also said that just because a school might be temporarily transitioned to remote learning doesn't mean their sporting events will be canceled.
What could happen is, depending on how the cases play out, if we have, you know, a number of members of one team that are maybe quarantined, or if we start to have positive cases within the athletic teams, then that would certainly have to be a consideration, you know, based on what our numbers are and so on and so forth. I don't see that happening, that if a school goes remote, but again, it's going to be up to individual districts and how they choose to handle those situations.
So, as you heard, no direct policy changes expected at this point, but still an eye towards health and safety at these sporting events around the district. In Great Falls, Matt Holzaffel, MTN News.
Thanks, Matt. And Mike also said that overall he's been pleased with both visiting and home fans following spectator policies.
It's no secret that growth in Great Falls lags behind other Montana communities, but the city is taking steps to attract more development in Great Falls in an effort to close the gap. The Great Falls City Commission has tasked staff with looking at ways to expand the current system for awarding tax increment funds to private developers to help offset the cost of redevelopment. Other communities have systems in place, but Great Falls currently does not.
There are going to be projects that, in order to work, they need support both of tax abatement and tax increment financing. And it's really just a question of how hungry are you to have a revitalized downtown.
And while other cities have been, let's just say, more aggressive with it, we've been a little bit more cautious on it and a little more conservative. And now I think we're taking a look at it and say, hey, let's start getting up to speed a little bit and let's be a little bit more aggressive with our use of TIF funds as well.
For a list of projects currently in development downtown, you can visit krtv.com. Coming up next on the 10 o'clock news, with a legal battle brewing over Montana's mail ballot plans, county officials discuss the safety and security of the vote-by-mail process.
Those stories and more after the break.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. Well, this November, in about 7 weeks, Montana will complete its first general election with all mail ballots in most of our 56 counties. Now, 2 Republican lawsuits are trying to block the all mail balloting process, claiming, among other things, that it creates more potential for voter fraud and other problems.
But starting tonight, MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison, in a 2-part series, tells us how mail balloting will work and has worked in Montana, and why local election officials believe it's a reliable, secure system.
In an election where most of the ballots will be mailed to registered voters, it starts by making sure that the list of voters is accurate and up to date. And across Montana, county election officials do that by performing what they call list maintenance.
Some people are concerned that voters would get removed from the rolls unfairly, but of course we have to have a way to keep the list up to date because addresses change, people pass away.
Officials routinely check death records and change of address files to see if someone should be removed from the local list. And if you don't vote for an election or two, you could be changed to inactive status or even get removed from the rolls. In either case, you would not get a mailed ballot. The best way to check your registration status is to go online to the website myvoterpagemt.com or just call the county election office. If you're on the registered voter list on October 2nd and your county is one of the 46 doing all-mail ballots, a ballot will be mailed to you on October 9th. It's the same way that requested absentee ballots have been handled in Montana for years, which, by the way, are the same thing as mailed ballots.
We use the same database, the same election management system either way. The difference is just who gets an envelope prepared for them.
Also this year, if you register to vote anytime after October 2nd and up to October 26th, 8 days before the election, a ballot will be mailed to you in those 46 counties doing all mail. Which brings me to the next question. How can you return that ballot that's mailed to you? As it turns out, mail is not the only option. The return envelope postage is prepaid, so mailing it is the easiest way and without cost. But most counties doing all-mail ballots also are setting up drop boxes at various locations where you can personally deliver your ballot, both on election day and in some cases before, starting in October. Those boxes must be staffed by at least 2 county election people when they're in use. And if you register after October 26th, up to and including election day, you must get your ballot and submit it in person at the county election office. As you can see, it's a meticulous process with many steps along the way. Tomorrow, we'll tell you what happens when the ballots are received and counted. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. And also, mail ballots must be received at the county election office by election day to be counted. Election officials are recommending ballots be mailed at least a week before election day, which is Tuesday, November 3rd.
The temperature tomorrow is 67 degrees for our friends in Glasgow and 83 in Helena. Don't go away. Your 7-day forecast is coming up next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Well, tonight, Hurricane Sally is threatening to bring historic rains and life-threatening floods to the Gulf Coast.
The Category 1 storm is expected to make landfall sometime tomorrow. CBS's Skylar Henry reports from Biloxi, Mississippi.
Some 10 million Americans along the Gulf Coast are bracing for the arrival of Hurricane Sally. From Louisiana to Florida, people are already feeling its effects.
I'm just not trying to go back over the bridge because the wind had my car shaking.
The storm stalled off the Alabama coast on Tuesday, slowing to just 2 miles an hour. With each passing hour, it grew larger and wetter. Sally is bringing a deluge to the southeastern U.S. As much as 2.5 feet of rain is expected east of Mobile, Alabama. The National Hurricane Center is warning of historic life-threatening flash flooding across the region.
Potentially record-setting rain and hurricane-force winds aren't the only concerns for officials here in Biloxi, Mississippi. The city also faces the threat of a 4-foot storm surge that could inundate some low-lying areas.
Thankfully, it appears that many people heeded this voluntary evacuation.
Dauphin Island, Alabama emptied out as Sally neared the coast.
We can't do anything about it. We can't get out, so.
By Tuesday evening, it was already too late for anyone in the storm's path. They're now hunkering down for what's shaping up to be a long and stormy night. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Biloxi, Mississippi.
And on top of that footage there, I shared a few videos on my Facebook page showing the storm surge moving in for a lot of folks along the Mississippi and Florida coastline in Alabama. Highs observed today, though, switching gears to our neck of the woods, 80 degrees in Great Falls as well as in Helena, 70 in Havre, 82 in Lewistown. Our temperatures did not get that hot today due to that smoke that's been with us for the past couple of days. Now, the temperature that we typically see for this time of year, the average is right around 70 degrees. The record set back when it was 2000, back when it was 95. So thankfully we didn't see that. That was also the year that NSYNC released Bye Bye Bye. Iconic song. We need to come back and do something like that. I don't know. 4 miles visibility because of all the smoke right now in Helena, 3 in Butte, 9 up towards Cutbank, and around 6 out towards Lewistown. 1 mile though visibility in Spokane. And the reason why we're seeing this high pressure down towards the south is allowing for the upper level winds to bring the smoke into the Treasure State, and that will be the continuing trend. Now tomorrow, at least for the Electric City, we probably won't have that big of a problem to deal with in terms of the haze. But for you guys down towards Helena, yeah, we're going to be looking at a couple more hazy days. And the reason with the smoke that we're seeing in terms of air quality, we're looking at still unhealthy conditions for those in Lewistown, Helena, Missoula, as well as Kalispell. Now, those in Malta, your guys' air has been able to get a little bit better over the past hour, seeing moderate conditions for you all, as well as us here in the Electric City. Current temperature is 52 degrees right now in Lewistown, 54 in Jordan, 55 in Glasgow. A little bit warmer towards Helena at 64 degrees, but we're still having to also deal with this air quality warning until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for those in Lewis and Clark County, as well as out towards Ferguson County. Now, Fergus County, we are seeing clouds that have been staying from Lewistown down towards Billings, staying kind of right around there. Looking at mostly clear skies for us here, though, in the Electric City. Expect partly cloudy skies, though, as we wake up for the bus stop forecast. As far as our winds are concerned tomorrow, we will be looking at 10 to 20 mile per hour winds gusting in Lewistown, 5 to 10 though in a lot of other places. Not really looking at a fire concerned day tomorrow. Even though it still will be dry, our winds aren't going to be whipping as much. And here's why. Stationary front that's really kind of poised itself from Cutbank on towards Billings. It's not going to be moving so much. We will be looking at a few clouds starting us off in the morning. However, clouds will break apart for a mostly sunny to sunny day. It will be a nice day tomorrow as long as the haze really kind of clears up for us here in Great Falls. By 6 a.m. on Thursday, we're going to see the stalled front kind of recede a little bit before we start to see a few clouds building up from Butte, and that's going to be where our next system comes in on Friday from the west. We are expecting for warmer conditions for the next 2 weeks, so heads up on that, as well as we're looking at staying dry too for us here in the Treasure State. So if you need some inspiration, let's get through this work week. Well, hey, guess what? 7 days until fall, 46 days until Halloween. My favorite, though, 101 days until Christmas. And thank goodness we're going to be able to say bye to 2020 here in 108 days. You can always stay weather aware by following me at Meteorologist Grant Garland on Facebook and downloading that free KRTV app. Temperatures will be able to drop going from 82 degrees on Friday down to 70 on Saturday, all thanks to that upper level low that's going to be moving through, allowing for us to see a few showers. Tonight, temperature is falling down to 46 degrees in Helena, 44 in Great Falls, and 44 in Glasgow. Over the next 3 days, our temperatures will start to warm up. We're going to see a little bit of a warming trend. Mostly sunny skies, though, tomorrow. Sunny skies on Thursday. For Friday, we're going to start to see chances for showers to increase late that night. Saturday, though, 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Then we start to dry back out for Monday. Tim?
Still to come, he's leaving his mark.
Morning professional bull rider making the Treasure State proud.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Welcome back. Tonight was the first crosstown night for the Great Falls High and CMR soccer teams.
MTN's Isaiah Dunk has highlights from Memorial Stadium.
Crosstown soccer in Great Falls, Bison boys looking for their first win over CMR since 2012. Here's Gavin Groeschel on the penalty kick in the first half. Rustler keeper John Hustis guesses the right way, but he's not there in time. 1-0 Bison. Second half now, ball got away from the Rustlers, and Reese McIntosh finds the goal. 2-0 in favor of Great Falls High, but the Rustlers would battle. A few minutes later, Jake Lacassie on the penalty shot. That's money, and it's a 2-1 score. Rustlers were pressing to score in the final minutes now, and that left things wide open for McIntosh again. Bison win this one 3-1, first victory over the Rustlers since 2012.
And thanks, Isaiah. We do apologize to our viewers regarding the girls' crosstown matchup. Camera malfunctions prevented us from getting highlights of that game tonight, but Great Falls High won 3-1.
Comer you'll want to keep your eyes on, a professional bull rider from Browning. MTN's Casey Conlon shows us why.
Dakota Lewis is like a fine wine.
I've just been getting better with age. I feel every day I'm getting better.
The 28-year-old Browning bull rider has been doing this for more than half his life, but he's never been better than right now. Lewis entered the PBR Ariat Invitational fresh off 3 top 12 performances in 4 events since the Unleash the Beast Tour started up again. But he saved the best for the home state.
Where you at, Billings? Let's go!
Lewis rode his first 2 bulls this past weekend, propelling him to a 7th place finish, his first ever top 10 on the top tour. And most importantly, he earned 20 world points that brought him from 38th to 33rd in the standings. The top 35 make the world finals. But he doesn't just want to make it to Vegas.
I'm shooting for top 5 this year, and next year be going for the first place.
That may seem impossible to some, but aiming high is the only way Lewis knows.
My dad, he rode bulls, like I said, and he always just went for first. And he figured, you know, if you're going to do something, you might as well be all in.
Lewis owes a lot to his family, from his bull riding dad to his bull riding younger brother, Preston, who was competing at the Ram National Circuit Finals over the weekend.
You know, we've always been there to encourage one another, give the other one that competitive nature, I guess, and always be the first one to give them a hard time too when it didn't go their way, just giving that brotherly love. But no, it's been fun, and I'm very blessed to have that kind of encouragement in my family.
A trait he'll pass on to possibly the 3rd generation of Lewis bull riders.
I have a 3-year-old son, Hayes, and for sure anytime we get back to him after the weekend, it seems like he always grows an inch taller or gets bigger or something, you know.
Lewis says Hayes is the best part about going home to the family ranch near East Glacier, where his strength and family bond was born.
You got to be able to communicate when you're working with animals, and you know, not every day we just try making the best out of it.
It's a life Lewis is excited to get back to one day.
I sure enjoy ranching, and I raise black Angus cows and train performance horses and team rope, so I feel like I could do that for a while.
But not quite yet. There's some unfinished business here.
Crowning Montana's Dakota.
Casey Conley, MTN Sports.
And Lewis and the PBR ride into Des Moines this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We'll be right back.
Temperatures tonight, 44 degrees in both Great Falls as well as Lewistown and including Glasgow. Overall tomorrow, waking up 46-degree temperatures, mix of sun and clouds as we go throughout the day here in the Electric City. We will warm up to right around 76 degrees in Great Falls, 83 in Helena, and 72 in Havre. Overall, over the next 3 days, we will see a warming trend, but upper level low moves in over the weekend, allowing for chances for showers and thunderstorms to vamp up, especially on Saturday. So you might need to have some extra plans if you have anything to go outside.
Well, most people don't associate fast food tacos with a good glass of wine, but Taco Bell hopes to change that. Taco Bell's latest creation is the Jalapeno Noir. It doesn't actually taste like jalapenos.
Now, it's made by a vineyard in Ontario, Canada, and Taco Bell says it contains hints of wild strawberry, cherry, and beetroot. People who want a wine tasting with their chalupa will need to make a run to the Canadian border. The wine is only available for a limited time in Canada or the Canadian website for $19. That's a pretty good deal for a decent bottle of wine. I don't know if Taco Bell quite equals that, but you never know.
Let's see.
Yeah, right? That's all the time we have tonight at 10.
Good night.